It's Wednesday, October 2nd, 2019. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights tonight. Promare, Studio Trigger's first feature film. All right. Is there what the fuck you need to look at? You ready to do the opening bit?
I'm just reading some ridiculous story that distracted me.
Oh. Is it
the Moscow Times? I don't know how legit this thing is. It says independent news from Russia, but it says Russian iPhone user sues Apple for turning him gay.
That sounds like some RT fakeness.
He became mired in saying it's on Google News though.
Yeah, on Google News does not mean much anymore. Google News shows Forbes.
He became mired in same-sex relationships this summer after receiving 69 gay coins on a cryptocurrency payment app he downloaded on his phone.
Yeah, that is 100% fake. 69? What are the odds that the perfect number? All right, you can do your opening bit. Hopefully it's not that. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Okay, so as we have said in our previous few shows, we had a huge pile of opening bits and newses and things of the day, and within one episode, we completely forgot all of them.
I remember, like, over the 2 weeks we weren't doing shows, like, every day I was like, oh, if we were doing Geek Nights tonight, I would talk about this.
I got like 20 opening bits, and then they're all escaped my mind.
And I thought to myself,
you'll never hear
same
them.
Thing I always think. I thought the exact words in my own brain. There is no way I will forget to talk about this when we resume Geek Nights. It's too good.
Yep.
There's no way I could possibly...
It's gone.
It's literally...
And it's gone.
My life at this point, I'm just like a fish. Like, what happened to me in the last
so you can
8
sit.
to
So
16 hours?
if anyone's actually unwisely listening to this, well, now you can sit there wondering what all those opening bits that you will never hear were.
Yep.
Because we forgot them.
The
so
only one I didn't lose.
let's talk about things that went down just recently that I still remember.
All I'll say is when I T-boned that lady on my bike with her bike, I talked about that in the forum.
Okay. So first thing. It's early October, so
I got to make my Twitter avatar spooky.
Oh, that's also true.
I'll do that tonight.
It's spooky season, but also the spooky season is the time to go get a flu jab season.
Oh yeah, get your flu shot. Anyone who tells you shouldn't get your flu shot except a doctor is wrong.
And anyone
and not Dr.
if
Nick,
you know
it's
anyone,
be a real doctor.
If you know anyone who didn't get a flu shot or is anti-vax or something and, isn't have a real reason, like, weak immune system, get a flu shot, sneak up on him, give him the jab.
Yeah, like, if you show up at PAX and you didn't get your flu shot, do not fucking come near me.
That's right. In fact, you're lucky I'm not in charge because we would just hold you down and jab you.
In fact, when we do our...
or exile you.
You know what we should do?
To
when we do
an
the
island.
panel, we should start, we do that like opening, like, hey, everybody, before we actually start the panel. We should be like, hey, did anyone here not get their flu shot? And then ask anyone who raises their hand to be removed from the room for our safety.
I don't know if the enforcers will do that.
I'll bet they would, but I feel like there would be consequences
There
for
would
us.
be something interesting would happen.
Yeah, that would be something interesting would happen. That is the best way to put that.
Yeah.
So what happened to you in the last 12 to 16 hours?
So not only did I move to a new apartment, but shortly before that,
which I have not even been to yet.
Immediately it's not in great shape.
Yeah.
Immediately before that, like as soon as I got back from PAX, I moved like 3 or 4 weeks after that, right? Basically 3 weeks after PAX. But immediately after PAX, over Labor Day weekend, my company moved to a different office where we had like this crappy old office, and then our team was in like a separate temporary, not WeWork, but similar sort of thing-ish office, right?
Speaking of which, you saw WeWork gave up on their IPO for now.
Good.
Yeah.
I hope they get in big trouble.
I hope they get broken up.
There's better candidates for breaking up, but why not them too?
Oh, yeah. Well, many companies could be broken up.
Anyway, so we finally combined the whole New York company, at least, into one office, new office, redone, everything's nice. And since it's a rather progressively minded company, they're doing lots of, improvements, related to being environmentally friendly and whatnot, right?
Oh, yeah.
All that sort of thing, right? So one of the things really
I work for the place that's like obsessed with that.
really small common thing is, some of the rooms have lights on motion detectors and the lights turn off.
Yeah. Oh,
You know.
there's one conference room I book kind of often, but if there's only like a few people in it and we sit at the front, after about 20 minutes, the lights all turn off and someone has to walk all the way to the back of the room to make the lights turn on again.
So today I was sitting on the shitter.
I know what happened to you.
Yeah.
That has happened to me.
And the lights just turn off because nobody came in to use the bathroom that whole time I was sitting there playing Race of the Galaxy.
Yep. And there's no sensor in the stall with you.
Of course
You can't
not.
just, wave your hand.
So
The worst
it was pitch black.
The worst thing. Wait, how do you wipe?
Well, I mean, I felt around for the TP.
Yeah, but you can't until you visually confirm. Like there's always risk.
Yeah, basically. But yeah.
That's the least gross way to describe that problem.
Yeah, basically. I managed to, open the door, wave my hand around.
Actually, the worst thing about that would be if someone does come in. They come in, like they open the door, it's pitch black, the lights turn on. While they're in there, you come out of the stall, and they won't have the context of the lights turned out on you. All they'll think is, why was Scott alone in the dark in the bathroom?
Anyway, so that happened. That was fun.
At least I can say that is literally happened to me multiple times in my life at multiple employers.
It was a first for me.
This is why I don't want AI-driven facial recognition technology to do a lot of stuff yet.
I feel like if you're just going to have the lights turn off in a bathroom, you should make it a little smarter, right? It's like it should also have detectors on the stall doors. If they're occupado, the light should always be
You know
on.
what I feel like this is like? It's the same problem Microsoft had with the original Xbox, because I assume the person they hired to design the controllers had gigantic monster hands. I feel like the person that designed all these sensors for bathrooms
Only
has
tease.
never had a poop that takes more than 20 seconds to complete. They've never played 4 Race for the Galaxies in the course of one poop.
I think I played 3. Anyway.
4 would be a little much. 4 means the poop's a problem.
Also, you got the phone flashlight is helpful.
That is the good backup. So someone pointed out that there is an opening bit we should have talked about, and this was like, of all days, today was the day to say this. Warm today.
All right.
It's like 90 degrees in October. It's
Not
actually a problem.
90, but it was high 70s.
Scott, the high today was 88. What do you mean? I looked at a thermometer. It was 88 today. Hot.
Wasn't that hot.
Yeah, it was 88
Didn't feel that hot.
in October.
It was warm, but it wasn't.
And New York City's having a problem where people, it's summer, so people are still going to the beach, but New York doesn't have like lifeguards at the beach.
Well,
in
the
October.
beaches close Labor Day or shortly thereafter.
Yep, but it's so nice out, people are still going to the beach. There just ain't lifeguards or like parking attendants.
So I mean, you're allowed to go there. You just, you go into the water, sort of like no one's going to physically stop you from going in the water, but you're not supposed to.
Yep.
But surfers usually go in the water.
I feel like this weekend maybe I should go to the beach, go swim. The water will
good
start
luck
to
with
get
that.
cold.
Yeah. So there's actually, I learned from surfers, there's a website called like Magical Seaweed, and that website tells you basically where and when to surf. Like this is it's sort of like how you're always checking the snow on the ski mountain.
Yep. No, it's like, who's got the good snow today?
Magical Seaweed is like good waves here, bad waves there. Go to this beach.
Yep, that is. I assume that exists. I assume there's a mountain bike one. Like, oh yeah, here's where they go. I guess mountain biking doesn't matter as much. Just is it sunny? Go
Yeah,
mountain
no,
biking.
it's not a sport where you need conditions.
True.
Right.
Yeah, surfing and skiing are the ones you really need very specific conditions for. It can't like skiing. It's not even just is it cold. It's like is there enough of the right kind of snow in this one place right now? Surfing, are there waves like this, and is the temperature like this right here, right now?
What
for like
time
an
today
hour?
should I go to ride
Yep.
those waves? There's tides and things.
Yep, you can only.
I don't know how it works. It's Magical Seaweed.
If I lived somewhere else, I would probably take up surfing instead of skiing.
I mean, I'm okay. I'm totally down to surf because doesn't seem dangerous or too dangerous in any way.
It
just seems
it's more dangerous than skiing.
I mean, I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think the thing is that the cartoon image of surfing, which actually is real. People do surf on like enormous waves
Yeah,
like that.
why would you surf unless that's your end goal?
But
to be able to do
the
that.
vast majority of surfing is on waves way smaller and not dangerous at all.
I mean, case
and
in
that
point, you know
super
where a lot of-
giant. The
You know where a
super
lot
gi-
of the surfing happens in the U.S. in fucking Wildwood with those tiny little 2-foot waves.
Yeah, the super giant wave surfing that you imagine as like the stereotypical surfing is pretty rare and only in a few places, and only with expert people.
I get the impression people are actually more likely to die like hiking. I think skiing is safer than surfing, but I can't find like enough evidence to make that case specifically. I think skiing is less dangerous than surfing, though,
I mean, it depends.
because drowning is way more likely to happen than like skiing. Dying's pretty rare.
I'm just gonna say, how many stories of professional surfers do you hear dying? And it's more than zero. I've heard some,
I've heard a lot, actually.
but I've heard a lot more stories about professional skiers, like even in the during the Olympics, like crashing into some trees, breaking all the bones in their body.
Yeah, pretty uncommon, though.
I see it happen.
Yeah, not that often.
Anyway,
You got any anime news on this Anime Wednesday?
I just got 2 small anime news.
I, too, have small anime newses of 2.
Oh, okay. So the first small anime news is that they are making a Lupin the Third computer-generated animation movie.
Which is actually really old news.
Right, but there's now trailers for it, and the cast, and the plot.
Oh, it looks
and
good.
It actually looks pretty damn good.
It looks real. Like, I'm feeling this.
Right, yeah, it's so this trailer is way hot. The music is hot. The plot seems to be a typical Lupin plot where he's trying to steal something that has some sort of semi-supernatural, Da Vinci Code powers of some
I gotta
kind.
Say, Lupin as a franchise for a while, basically up until the Fujiko Mine thing that sort of reset it again. A lot of Lupin things that were coming out were not actually that good for a while.
No, this appears at face value to follow the Lupin movie formula of the great
Yep.
Lupin the Third movies.
Well, I mean, look at
And
this right here. Normal cast
but it's
plus the girl who's only in this movie.
the plot girl and
Yep.
the one movie villain, right?
Yep.
And it's like yeah, it's cookie cutter, but it is all new.
But it's a good cookie.
Yeah,
I'd love the shit out
and
of me a bunch of sugar cookies.
the CG looks actually pretty great.
Yeah.
So I'll wait to see this when it's all subtitled and all that biz.
Did you ever actually finish Fujiko Mine?
No.
Really? It's real good.
Yeah, when do I got to? There's a lot of things that are real good that I'm gonna watch one day.
How am I watching so much more anime than you?
Because maybe I do things besides sit around watching TV.
Yeah, I do a lot.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of what I've been doing,
I spend very little time in front of the screen watching shit.
So speaking of what I've been doing, this is a Geek Bite because I have finished all of Carol and Tuesday, the hot new Watanabe like Bones anime, music oriented. It's not.
I thought you said you only watched half of it.
Well, so the first half of it is on Netflix completely. They just released the whole thing, and it ends at a very good like stopping point because the story is sort of the first half of the show is how did these two people become famous? Like how did this happen? And then the second half of the show is what do they do now in this world that it's basically like ICE, like American ICE, our Gestapo, like is basically a plot point around immigrants and refugees and all the like. There's a real serious plot.
Oh, what about this other anime we're going to review in our main bit?
Oh yeah, there are 2 anti-ICE movies or shows that have come out and like around the same time with actually kind of the same message. At least that message interleaved with all the other messages. We'll get to that. In Carol and Tuesday, it's mice.
Wow.
Yeah, they're not even pretending.
Wow.
Literally, like refugees from Earth, like moving to Mars, and an anti-refugee politician. Like it's really direct. They're not fucking around here.
Wow.
But so the show is still like being finished, and the second half of it will drop on Netflix sometime soon. I forget what day it's gonna come. But basically, you can watch the first half of it on Netflix now, and it ends at a pretty good point. Having watched it, all I'm going to say, well, I'm not going to spoil anything. This is a Geek Bite. One, I think it's going to be one of the great anime. Like, I get the feels, having watched the first half of this, that I got the first time I watched shows like Cowboy Bebop. It just feels real good. I find myself rewatching certain scenes a bunch of times on YouTube, which I also found myself doing with things like Cowboy Bebop. The music in it, because it's a show about musicians, is great. There's a lot of songs that are done very well, which is where music anime tend to fuck up and fail. It's big budget. Like everything about it is great. And if you wanted Kids on the Slope to be good, but you thought it was boring because it was boring and wasn't going anywhere. This is actually good, and you should 100% watch this show as soon as you can. That's all I'm going to say. Just watch
So
it.
when we judged anime, we were correct.
Yeah, we were 100% correct. In fact, I think it's better than we thought it was going to be because I didn't know where it was going.
Uh-huh.
And where it's going, I don't know what it does with that. I mean, the second half could fuck it up. Don't feel like it's going to fuck it up. I feel like they know what they're doing. Also, Dubstep Grandma.
Whatever that is good.
Oh, the two things. You know how a lot of anime are funny in that they have jokes, but you don't actually laugh out loud at any point because they're not that funny? I laughed out loud a lot at this show, kind of like when I watched Cowboy Bebop.
All right, anyway.
But the points I think you specifically, Scott, will laugh out loud are the Dubstep Grandma and the Mermaid Sisters.
Mermaid, I'm all about Mermaid Sisters.
The Mermaid Sisters.
When are they coming over?
I would go, if the Mermaid Sisters were a real band, I would fucking go to their concert.
All right.
Like, no, I would stand in line to get tickets to see them perform live.
No one sells tickets in lines anymore. We have
Well,
internet.
I'm obviously a digital line. Obviously.
Anyway.
So what's your other anime news?
Oh, well, there's this convention in New York called Anime NYC that we've talked about every year since it came into existence, and we've been to it 0 times.
We never go because either it overlaps with some Geek Nights thing we got to do or some travel or something.
It doesn't overlap with shit. We can totally go to it.
A few times it overlapped, or as the producer of Geek Nights, where I arrange all of our convention appearances, I keep fucking forgetting to talk to them and sort stuff out until it's way too late because there's way too many PAXs for me to deal with. Like, you know how many PAXs I've had to schedule for us in the last like 2 weeks?
Anyway, it's at the Javits Center for November 15th to 17th.
It is the PAX of anime conventions. Like,
It's real big. It's not, just based on, on paper, it does have some issues. I think they do some VIP biz, which I'm not a big fan of, right? But in general, it seems to be a great giant anime con in New York City. It's not run by Reed, right? It's independent.
Yep.
It sort of broke away from. It's a lot of those people who were involved in that New York Anime Festival,
Yeah.
but they busted away.
I think we talked about this way back when this first came out, but
Yeah.
it's like an A-team of the kinds of people who worked for the companies that made anime conventions or volunteered for anime conventions,
Right.
who wanted to do the right thing and the conventions were stupid, and basically they formed the power team of all those people.
Anyway, so there have already been a lot of huge guests announced for this year's, but it's November 15th to 17th. For this year's Anime NYC, they've already announced a ton of huge guests, including Kill 'Em All Tamino, the creators of the Dr. Stone manga, the illustrator of Monogatari, voice actress named Miku Ito. I don't know, what they do.
As I get older, I honestly pay less attention to the voice actors.
Jam Project and a bunch of other musical guests are going to be there, right? But they just announced a big-time Japanese voice acting guest who has never, ever, even once appeared at a U.S. convention. So only the weebs are going to know about Rie Kugimiya.
Yep.
Who is...
Let's see. Alphonse from Full Metal Alchemist. Happy from Fairy Tale. Looking for
have you seen any of these other anime that this person is voice acted
No,
in?
I know they're popular, but these are not my anime.
Right. It's like, this is other than Full Metal Alchemist and Gintama, I've never seen an anime this person voice acted in, but I can still recognize, like, this person is way big deal.
Oh, they also do Oda Nobunaga in Fate Grand Order.
Okay.
If you do not know what that is, it's not the Oda Nobunaga you're thinking of.
No, it is not.
But it actually technically is. It's, anyway. There are many Oda Nobunagas.
Right. The point is, this is like a big time guest announcement, right? Never before. And I wish they would have gotten the person to do the Japanese voice of Edward Elric, whoever that is.
Yeah.
Because I was ready to, because I misread this post at first and was about to be like,
Yep. Actually, that segues nicely into my news.
I was about to make a funny tweet, but I couldn't.
So, people have been asking me to summarize this. You can just read it. The I've talked about it a little bit on GeekNights, but basically Vic Mignogna, the guy who voice acted Edward Elric and a whole bunch of other characters across a bunch of
in
popular
English
anime
and
in
terrorized many anime cons.
Yeah. Kind of, in my personal opinion, based on my interactions with him and my discussions of him with other people who have had firsthand interactions with him, he's kind of a piece of shit. Like, he's an annoying, demanding, kind of shitty dude who always gave off bad vibes. And as you all know, it looks like he was also a creepy person and did a bunch of creepy stuff. And you can read all about it here. I don't want him to sue me because it seems like he keeps suing people. But he sued a bunch of people in the industry because his complaint was they fired him because he's a creep, and that is defamation and slander and all that kind of crap. He lost. Like, that lawsuit went nowhere because it was ridiculous. He hired a lawyer who is basically the Lionel Hutz of this kind of thing. Like, the guy fucked up real bad. The whole situation was a disaster. The lawsuit was a mistake. But the thing that happened that you should all know from the anime industry perspective and anime news perspective is that the lawsuit's basically over. He did lose. There's like one last thing that's going to happen where he's going to fail in this mediation thing, and then it's done. But the mob of weebs who are weirdly obsessed with him is a real fucking problem now in anime. There's more of them than you think. They're basically doing 100% the Gamergate thing. They've been harassing the judge in the case. Like, directly, like vandalizing his Facebook wall and stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sure the judge is looking at his Facebook wall often.
Yeah, but think about this. The weebs are organized.
I'd be surprised if
enough.
the judge even knows.
So we'll see what comes of that because they're sending death threats all over the place. They're using hashtags just like Gamergate did. They're doing mass like reporting antics on Twitter. They're going after people on Facebook. They're doxing. It is literally just another Gamergate, and it's growing.
I'm sure there's like 20 of those happening that you don't even know about.
There aren't that many
in circles that you don't even know.
They tend to focus. Those things tend to focus on nerd franchises, and partly because there are a lot of aggrieved, shitty, incel-type white dudes who are really easy to trick with this stuff. So it's basically all over, but what you got to watch out for is that this mob is going around like attacking and harassing people, and I think they're going to get a little more potentially violent and angry when the final verdict happens. If you run an anime convention, all I'm saying is anyone that you are booking to do panels, anyone that you are interacting with in the industry, just check their social media tags and make sure they're not interacting with the I stand with Vic hashtag. That is literally just Gamergate for anime. If they even are adjacent to that, just hard pass, block them, and move on. And if you want to know more about like the full details of this ridiculous clown circus that happened, I will link to this CBR article that talks in depth about all the ridiculous crap that happened. It would be funny if it wasn't so sad.
And one final news that is unrelated to any anime, manga, or comics.
Whoa.
But today is October 2nd, which is the first day of hockey.
Oh, shit.
In 2019.
I'm
2020 season.
I feel like
here we go.
Should we do our next Tuesday show on the preview of the upcoming hockey season or something?
What the fuck do you know?
Fucking nothing. You know what I've got?
You have nothing to say. You don't know shit.
Oh, wait. Here's what I got. I have uninformed conjecture. I have...
Can you even name players on other teams besides the Red Wings or the Rangers?
Nah, really.
Name for me one player on the Nashville Predators.
Predators? Did they trade him? I'm worried that anyone I would mention has been traded. I'm just going to say no.
Yeah, so you have no place making a season preview. If you need
preview, Scott, I'm doing a Rangers preview.
If you need any sort of preview or any sort of hockey info, you should go to respected sports journalists who are full-time paid sports journalists doing this all day.
No, all I'm saying is
and not to Rim, who knows next to nothing.
No, I'm saying if you want unfounded and uninformed conjecture,
let's do a different show.
You want someone who talks 90% about the Rangers.
Who just make stuff up because you don't know nothing. And what you're going to do is read something and then repeat what you read. The person could have just read that to begin with.
I think the thing I would actually talk about for the entire time is the rules changes.
We can talk about the rules changes.
Actually, that would be a good Tuesday show.
That is the thing that we can talk about.
That would be a really good Tuesday show.
Yes.
Remind us on Monday, because I've already forgotten what we were going to do the show on.
We could do a show about all sorts of sports rule changes.
Oh, that would be a good panel.
Yeah.
Like at a PAX.
Anyway.
I'm going to put that in for PAX East.
Okay.
But anyway, things of the day. What do you got?
So here's a bunch of baby alligators, right?
Already cute.
I guess they're
Scott, the fuck?
Hmm?
These are not alligators.
The crocodiles, whatever, all the same shit.
There's a big difference
Whatever.
between an alligator and a crocodile.
I don't give a
Scott.
crap. Fuck you, alligators and crocodiles. I'm putting you all
Yeah,
together.
Fuck alligators.
I don't
Crocodiles are where it's at.
Anyway, the point is,
You picked the right one. That's all I'm saying.
here's a bunch of babies.
Scott, do we need to play? Is it Ireland or is it Scotland again?
No, I don't care. Fuck them. They're all the same now. Deal with it, Ireland and Scotland. You're the same,
Well,
you're the same
actually-
place now. Golf and Blarney Stones and deal with it.
Oh, God, I'm glad you at least got one of each there.
I know. I figured it out eventually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What's the difference between the United Britain and Great Britain?
So these baby Floridians here make a bunch.
Albianese.
They make a bunch of cute noises, and it just so happens that in this video, they're making these cute noises, and they sound incredibly like a Gallagher machine.
I love it.
Shockingly like a Gallagher machine.
I love it when, because there's animals that people encounter a lot in their lives, like doggos.
I feel like they should have just taken a Gallagher machine and dubbed it over.
Yeah, that would have been. We could do that. I'll love that.
Or
upload
a
that.
Galaxian.
But I love it when animals that normal people don't encounter on a regular basis make a noise that normal people would not expect them to make.
Well, I think it's, people learn the cow goes moo, the duck goes quack.
They don't realize
the
that the fox goes.
Right.
and
It's like there's a bunch of animals and no one ever fucking teaches you what sound they make. You know the whale goes
Yep.
But it's like, what the fuck noise does I don't know, fucking rhino make? Yeah, pretty much, right? That's a good guess. It's probably right, but you don't fucking know.
That would be there's a game. There's an interview question. Just get someone to make all the noises of every animal in alphabetical order.
Yeah, weird ass animals. And I
Yeah.
bet the thing is, it's probably a bunch of animals that do make a noise. We just don't know what fucking noise they make because they're too small, right?
Yeah.
I bet if I was spider size, I would be like, oh, spider goes.
So rabbits, you think they don't make noise, right? Like they don't yell or anything. They don't have like a barking noise.
Yeah,
really.
they make noise.
Like what? What noise do you think they make?
Oh, they got little teethy noises.
Yeah, when they're biting stuff.
Yeah,
They'll thump when they're mad, when they want attention.
yeah.
They can vocalize. Usually they only do it when they're in extreme pain or distress of some kind. Some weird rabbits just yell because they're weird. Not common.
I was actually reading something recently that was like, yeah, cats didn't vocalize; they meowed because of humans.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true or not,
Yeah,
but
that's
I read
recent.
I read a thing
that is
that
recent.
claimed that.
That is recent, very fascinating research, actually. So, my thing of the day is actually related to this because rabbits do make these tiny little vocalizations that you wouldn't hear unless you're like really up close and really paying attention. Like Moogie, when he's eating stuff and he's excited, you'll hear these tiny little like, like he gets excited. So this channel basically they mic up their rabbit with a really sensitive microphone, and it's basically rabbit ASMR. Like, here's the rabbit eating a watermelon, and you just get like the sounds of a rabbit eating a watermelon.
So we got two animal noise things of the day.
Yeah,
is
well,
what you're telling me.
Remember in the old days, we used to do like week-long themes of things of the day?
Yeah, we don't have that many spare things of the day anymore.
I remember when we did hockey fights for a week.
Yeah, well, the internet now has, a lot less cool things of the day and a lot more bad news.
Yeah, or a lot more, this is a cool thing of the day, but it's literally just the next video from the guy who I've already used for like 8 things of the day.
Yep.
Like the Tech Moan guy. I'm trying to
the
avoid
guy
linking to him.
the product testing guy.
Yep. I feel like maybe we should do a show on that. Like, where do we get our long form? What are our reliable go-to show me something interesting channels?
Every K-pop music show.
Yep.
BA Test Kitchen.
Yeah.
It's like,
In the meta moment, the GeekNights Book Club book is still The Tale of Genji. Not just a novel, but the first novel.
yeah, I've started reading it and I was making some moves and then I moved and I haven't started reading it again. So once everything in my apartment is settled, I'll probably be able to get in bed and start reading again.
Yep. So it'll be a long one before we get into the
It's
next
also
book.
a long book.
Yep.
Because we're going full hardcore unabridged.
But
no abridgments.
Having read a bit of it, when you said you were reading it, I've paused now because you paused. But I get the same feeling I got when I was reading the long unabridged Count of Monte Cristo, in the sense that, yeah, it's long, but stuff just keeps happening, and I'm always just like, all right.
Well, I mean, you have to remember, this thing was originally released as like several separate chapters.
Well, I mean, the Count of Monte Cristo was like, here's a chapter in the newspaper every week.
Exactly. So this was, and this was only like for rich people, right? Because I guess other people didn't even know how to read.
Yep.
Right? Or definitely couldn't get books and paper. It's not like they had a printing press or whatever, right? So, yeah.
Yep, the other big meta bit, because there's a lot of stuff going on, but the thing I really want to point out, because it's Wednesday, is that many of you, in fact, someone is in the live stream agitating right now, asking us what we think of Promare, because if you've noticed, the format of Geek Nights is we talk for like 20-ish minutes about
bullshit.
Yeah, well, stuff that is either bullshit or that's really only relevant now, and like you don't care about this if you listen to this episode 10 years from now.
Right. When someone is listening to this in some year well into the future from 2019, if the world still exists, and they're listening to all this pre-Promare stuff, like what the fuck, but really they're just wondering if they should watch this movie Promare, which is now readily available on the I guess $1 a month, every old anime ever.
Well, case in point, on December 28th, 2005, on Geek Nights, we reviewed Samurai Champloo. Like we did a review. We also talked about some Windows exploit from 2005 and how it looks like Blu-ray might win the fight against HD DVD.
We were right. Blu-ray did win the fight, and then it lost.
You do not want to hear us talk about the Blu-ray news. You just want Samurai Champloo.
That's right.
So what I'm doing, and I posted a bunch of these already, and I'm going to put one of these out once a week for a long time, because we have reviewed a crazy amount of anime over the last 15 years of doing Geek Nights. So I'm taking just the main bits from those episodes, just the reviews. I'm pulling them out, and I'm uploading them both to YouTube and to the Patreon. So, you don't have to pay any money. It's free. I'm not making these hidden behind the paywall. So you can subscribe to the Main Bits Patreon RSS feed, and you'll get just the anime reviews that we do and have done for the last 15 years about once a week without having to listen to any of our old news. So I've already uploaded 4 of these, and I'm going to try to do one once a week. So I did our Evangelion review, our Evangelion Final Thoughts, our Big O Final Thoughts, and a movie that neither of us remember at all that we reviewed called The Boy Who Saw the Wind. And so I think next what I'm going to put up is, actually I'm not going to spoil it. They'll just appear in the feed as they appear.
Okay. So, Promare, we finally get to it. Here's the deal, right? Studio Trigger, the makers of such fine anime as Kill La Kill, Little Witch Academia, etc., etc., etc.
The studio that saved anime.
Yes. They made a full-length animated motion picture.
Now, this is their first one.
And as we say, if there's an anime movie in the theater...
That's not a sequel?
Even if it's just like Brooms, you should go see
Brooms. Yeah. There aren't that many anime movies that are feature-length, full of production value, released in theaters, and are not a sequel to Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, not like One Piece movie 12 or some shit like that.
Yep,
right?
the second piece.
Or compilation movie of existing anime TV series. Or right? Ones that are original stories, things like that. They're pretty rare.
So if you're an anime
fan, it might be hard to go back in time and watch all of them, but you should go back in time and watch all the great ones. It won't take that long. There's not too many.
Yeah. And if you live in a major city in the U.S., they're all in the theater.
Right. It used to be that, back in the day, you could only see them really at in New York at we used to go to IFC or stuff like that, right? But now, thanks to what they call the Fathom events and whatnot, a small company, a small distributor like G-Kids or Funimation can now, through that Fathom events, put their movie on the screens in theaters around the country for 1 or 2 nights only.
So it's not even go to Manhattan to the weird theater one night only. It's go to the movie theater we normally go to in Queens.
Yeah, we went to just a normal old multiplex that shows all the But it's like, all right, they're showing the dub on one night and the sub 2 nights later, and then that's it.
They got your back. They know what's up. They know.
Yep.
So you can go see the sub, which is the
So
appropriate
you may or may not have missed your chance to see it in the theater in the U.S.
I saw some,
but there are still some screenings out there, I believe.
In some markets, they extended Promare's theatrical release.
Yeah, I think it's
popular.
made like $1 million at the U.S. box office.
It's doing well as far as
it's doing well for a extremely limited run non-English anime movie in the U.S.
Yep. So
right?
before we get into the full review, the TLDR version is just go see it.
Of course.
Like just automatically just go see it.
Even before I saw it, I would tell you that because like we said, it's an anime movie.
But now that I've seen it, go see it.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
so all I knew was that this is a movie by Studio Trigger. So I had expectations based on what I know about Studio Trigger, but this basically is even beyond, like, not only did it meet the expectation, it basically was too on target. It is literally Studio Trigger, the movie.
Yep, like the way I put it
they
is...
just went all in on what they are good at and who they are. They didn't try to do anything new. They just did what Studio Trigger does as hard as they possibly could.
It's like the opposite of what happened with Mary and the Witch's Flower. It's like, hey, we're going to make a Ghibli movie, but not be Ghibli, and they made a not that good Ghibli-esque movie.
Yep.
But this is literally, like Scott said it best, this is Studio Trigger, the movie. And if they made a Promare 2, I would go see it.
Yep.
It's, the way I would describe it before we even get into details is that like an anime movie has like the first act, the twist, the second act, the big climaxy scene, and then the denouement. Take that big climaxy scene and literally make that the entire movie and never fucking stop.
Pretty much.
There's like a few scenes where it slows down a little, and they're not even that long. This movie just shoves anime into your face as hard as possible. Take the biggest action scene in Giant Robo and make that an entire movie. Mm-hmm. And I loved every second of it. The other thing is, the plot is there are firefighters.
The plot is nothing. The plot is basically nothing.
There are firefighters. And there are fire terrorists.
Yep. Well, the whole world, the plot is actually something weird happened that we can't explain.
Yep.
Where some people were suddenly on fire. The entire world got set on fire, literally. And the post-apocalyptic, reborn society.
Firefighting is really
there
important.
are still some fire people around. So there are, the societal structure has basically firefighters who go out and deal with the fire-causing people, as well as a separate Gestapo-like police force that arrests the fire people and imprisons them. And then
that Gestapo literally starts arresting people who are obviously immigrants, effectively.
Yes, they have there's a scene.
They use ice weapons, literally.
Yep.
And if you
there is a non-white worker in a restaurant making pizza. He's making the best pizza, and all he wants to do with his firepower is make the best pizzas. And then they find out that he is a fire person, and they come and arrest him while he's working there making pizzas. And all the racist people in the restaurant are like, "Oh, I don't like this pizza anymore," and leave. Except for the firefighters who aren't racist.
There is zero ambiguity that it is ice.
No, but yeah, it's the plot is not much of a plot.
Well, the plot, so
it's basically the plot they need to set things on fire and have giant robots.
Yep, but the plot in terms of, like, forget the animated stuff, but like what the major characters are doing and why, I'm not saying it's complex, but it's more than you would expect. Like, the villain has fairly complex and interesting motivations, like more so than I expected. Scott, did you ever actually see all of Giant Robo?
Yeah.
So, all I'll say, if you have seen Giant Robo, the end and like what the real plot is and like the final moments of this movie are so parallel directly to the end of Giant Robo.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's actually. I don't think it comes from Giant Robo. I think it just comes from the same source material as Giant Robo, which is old giant robot animes.
Yeah,
right?
But more the like, what did you? It's that what did you expect me to do with this moment from Giant Robo. Similar sort of situation in Promare.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's similar sort of situations in like, Gigantor and Mazinger and whatever, right?
Yeah, but Giant
They're
Robo
all cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, but Giant Robo really crystallized it.
Anyway, so yeah, this is not a spoiler, even though it is a thing that happens near the end of the movie. This is a movie where a robot that is so enormous, the entire Earth is on fire. This robot punches the on fire Earth, and the entire solar system sets on fire.
Yeah, that happens.
That is a thing that happens in this movie. It's not a spoiler, because what the fuck can you make of that?
Yep.
But that's the kind of movie you're going into, right? You're talking like Gurren Lagann, drill through the earth insanity.
Or, like the open, like Giant Robo starts in media res. It literally just starts with this crazy train and a giant action scene.
Yeah, this starts with, after they explain the history of the world briefly, this building on fire. The firefighters are going with their robots to fight the fire.
Yep, and all the fire like hydrants on the street are actually like little mecha things.
Yeah, the city is very Evangelion Nerve City, where the whole construction of the city is designed to help fight fires. Right? The same way that, the Nerve City or whatever it's called in Tokyo 7, I don't fucking remember.
Every character is a ridiculous, over-the-top character of something. Like, they're as ridiculous as you could possibly imagine.
Right, and a lot of them they're basically transplanted characters from other Trigger anime, right?
Which I like
there's
that.
There's like the big dude, well, that's it's just Gamagori. And then, the science-y girl who handles all the tech stuff. It's like she's obviously just the hat girl from Kill la Kill.
All those characters in the firefighting team, I was getting these vague, like, Bubblegum Crisis vibes a little bit. Like, it almost made me want to go watch Bubblegum Crisis again.
Well, the chief guy with the mustache, and plus all the vehicles gave me a lot of Tank Police vibes.
Yeah, it was especially there is literally a scene where a fire truck starts rolling through a hallway that is narrower than the truck.
Yep.
That is like the iconic scene in Tank Police. The second most iconic scene. The most iconic scene is all the penises, but this movie is just ridiculous and over the top to the point that I'm hesitant to try to describe anything about it beyond that.
Right. Well, I also got to point out, this is for all the peoples out there. This movie is pretty gay.
Yes, but here's an important point. There is no romantic subplot.
No.
Which that is refreshing. There is a female love interest and a male love interest.
Right. There is a brief scene where the camera work is done in such a way to make you think, main character dude is going to kiss, the hot girl that is also a firefighter.
And she likes him and there's
But he basically just gets on his motorcycle and drives away. And then there is another scene where it's like, he's gonna give, it's that old mouth-to-mouth resuscitation situation. But there's basically it is inferred in such a way as like, yes, there's something there, and they don't make it explicit, which
the main character is either gay or bisexual.
Right. It's a shame
openly.
Right. It's a shame that they don't make it more explicit, but they clearly via it is unspoken that like, he is not interested in that girl. He is interested in, the dude.
I guess what is refreshing though, I'm glad
right?
it wasn't
like in Darling in the Franxx, which I haven't even watched, but I know that like, there's a dude and the girl's all bent over in front of him. Here, the two dudes combine in the robot, all right? Not that the girl doesn't combine in the robot with the other dude.
Yeah.
Okay, the two dudes combine in the robot.
But I'm glad there's no romantic subplot, only in the sense that I hate that just is in everything, always. The fact that it's not actually a subplot and it's just about these people, but at the same time, their attraction to each other is not in any way hidden. It's just there. It's also a movie, like, I almost want to just send this to my dad and be like, hey, it's a movie about firemen.
No, it's not.
It technically is.
But no, it's just firefighting is merely the facade for which it is a tactical.
They literally fight fires.
Superhero team.
They fight fires with
they're
fire
they're
trucks.
more they're it's like saying it's like if you just repainted gatekeepers and put like a fire emblem FDNY on the side of the gatekeepers' vehicles. That doesn't make them firefighters. They're still.
The other thing I really appreciated was that it's such crazy over the top action. The colors are amazing. Like the colors, the lines, like everything about the aesthetic and how
they managed to combine the CG, right, and the the regular non-CG animation in such a way, right? That is not the way that Spider-Man Spider-Verse does it.
Yeah.
Right? Like a new and different way. It's pretty, it just has just like tons of energy in it. I don't know. The one thing is, what was I going to say?
In the early part of the movie, the city itself looks very CGE and sterile. And to the point that I thought that was on purpose and there was going to be a plot around that, which there wasn't.
No.
But otherwise, like, it just looks so good. And in the midst of all this chaos, that what is actually happening on screen still like makes sense. Which a lot of anime and even live action movies that try to go crazy like that tend to lose this. Like Transformers movies, the perfect example. It doesn't actually make sense what's happening.
Well, I mean, if you go on Twitter, right, and Anna Twitter, people often post like these GIFs of like a brief cut from an anime to show you like the insane animation in that sequence that somebody did by hand way back in the day, right? You'll always see like the one from Macross where it's like, all right, they're fighting outside the Macross, and then they're in the city, and then they transform, and then they chase, and then, right? And then, there's also the scene where like they're falling and the cockpit opens up and they fall out, and then they come back in and he grabs and closes it, right?
Yep.
And it's like these, if you watch those old anime that have these scenes in them, it's like most of that show will be the cheapest, barely moving, cut, low budget animation, just talking heads and stuff like that. And then during the action scene, they'll have this one sequence they put tons of effort into that you can then clip and make an animated GIF for Twitter that will be amazing. Wow, look at that incredible animation. This entire movie, you could basically pick any starting and stopping point, and the whole thing will be Twitter GIF worthy. It's just nonstop anime Twitter GIF of amazing animated action sequence.
Also, I cannot stress enough the absolutely bumping soundtrack.
Right, and if it ever pauses for a moment and there's no action, instead you get like breathtaking, beautiful, still background kind of scene to look at.
Every frame of this movie would be a fine desktop background.
Yes.
Every single frame.
Yep.
But the music is fantastic.
Well, I mean, it's the same composer that you heard, in Kill la Kill and all the other Studio Trigger things with that same kind of energy.
But the animation is like really set against the music very well, and the music is varied within the confines of the movie.
Yes.
Which, like, to the point that I've just been listening to the soundtrack at work.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, the other thing along all those lines is that despite all this nonsense and like all this crazy, there's a ton of humor and like little jokes and like little bits that would be easy to miss. And the movie, and I really, really appreciate this because it's so rare, they trust you to just notice this shit.
Well, it's so fast. If you don't notice it, you're gonna miss it.
Yeah, but like the movie trusts you to notice all these really little jokes without going back and like, hey, did you get the joke? Did you get it?
Yep.
And that,
well, I mean, that's the thing is like it moves crazy fast, but it's not crazy fast like Excel Saga or what was that other one that was crazy fast?
the one where God, this is so long ago. The Elf Princess Rain?
Yeah, something like that, right? Where it's not just like...
God, who the fuck listening to Geeknights remembers Elf Princess Rain?
Isn't that I'm So Cool, I'm So Smart?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy fast.
And there's another one we forgot that has a similar thing.
But it's not like this ridiculous breakneck speed that it's like, you're listening to a record and it's spinning too fast and you can't tell what the lyrics are. It's like it's like a podcast on 2X where you can get all the words in.
Yep.
And it's still fast, but you 100% can tell everything that was said, and it's perfectly clear. You don't, and I guess you might miss some things if you don't pay enough attention or you slip, you doze off or get distracted. But otherwise, it's totally good. And they managed, because of that speed, to cram in a ton of stuff, right? I didn't feel like there was anything that was like that they introduced that was lacking screen. It's not like not too many characters, not enough characters, just right number of characters, just right number of scenes and twists and things like that.
Yep, like every side character, as crazy as they are, has just enough screen time for you to enjoy that character.
Yep.
Even like really minor characters, like they get enough. And everyone's like, Rotten Tomatoes, like this movie's making money. It's like the reviews are all great for the most part. What did Anime News Network say? Promare is a refinement of the Trigger formula to the point where I honestly believe it has outdone the classics that inspired it.
Yeah, probably. The only thing I can say about this movie that would be negative, besides the fact that the plot is basically nothing,
Yeah.
it's just anime plot, the anime, right?
I like anime plot.
I do. I love anime plot, the anime. But relatedly, I think if you are
Just
not
like I like Guy Ritchie movie, the movie.
right, I think if you are not anime fan, the weeb, this movie will just be like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
'cause
movie will just blast right. It might blow you away, right? Physically,
Yeah, but then
I don't think you're.
You know what
It's
it'd be
not
like?
going
It'd
to
be like
penetrate.
If you a non-anime person, it'd be like a hurricane rolled through, and you're like just thrown around. And you don't
You're
know
like,
what's
what
going
the
on.
fuck was that?
Yeah, then it ends. You're just like, what?
Right. Whereas an anime fan would be, it's like, imagine two people riding a roller coaster. One person's like, woo, roller coaster. And the other person's like, oh my God, what the fuck is this? I don't know what a roller coaster is.
Here's how I put it. Compare
Why are we
this,
turning so God?
compare this to Redline.
And then one person gets off and is like, that was awesome. And another person gets off and is like, what the hell was that?
Compare it to Redline, which is a pretty.
I was also thinking about Redline, but I think Redline has
is
more.
is actually like a normal movie.
Right,
that
Redline
has crazy
has more speed up and slow down, right? It's not full speed the whole movie.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the scenes where the racing and crazy racing action
But then
happens.
there's the scenes where like the characters
right.
are developing and having a quiet night.
Right, and then there's talking in between, right? And there's a whole lot of setup before the race and stuff like that. Whereas
Yeah.
this
Also,
is just nonstop.
To be fair, Redline actually has a pretty nuanced like set of character arcs, and the plot is actually pretty more complex.
Yeah, Redline has a plot that is way more advanced than the plot of Promare, which is just nothing.
Yep. But if I take like random person and show them Redline, they'll understand it as a movie.
Yes, a normal person can watch Redline.
Yep.
Only a weeb can watch Promare. I would be very surprised. I would love
This
to
is
put
why I
a
want to send
room.
this to my dad and be like, "Hey, Dad, it's a movie about firefighters
Yeah,
from Japan."
they might hate you though. But I would love to just do like a test with like a room of non-weebs of various sorts of people, but non-weebs, and have them all watch Promares, maybe their first anime ever, and just see what the fuck they think about it. Like kids might be like, "Woo!" but I think adults who have closed or
Yep.
minds might be like, "What the hell?"
I mean, the first anime I ever saw was Vampire Hunter D, and all I remember is that I'd never encountered anything like that in my life.
No, it's a vampire story. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was crazy, ultra gory. Like it was way gorier than anything I'd really seen up to that point.
Yeah, it's true. It's,
Yeah.
it's Halloween time. Watch yourself a Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah.
If you haven't.
Did we ever review the original Vampire Hunter D?
I haven't watched it in forever. I remember, all I remember was there was like a.
Oh,
I remember
Nighthawk.
almost nothing.
Usually every year around this time, Nighthawk Cinema will do a midnight screening with food
But midnight though.
on a weekend.
Yeah,
Bike there at midnight. That'll be fun. I'll do that.
yeah, maybe.
So yeah, if you are listening to this episode of Geek Nights,
That means you can probably go watch Promare as soon as you get
100%.
the
if
opportunity.
you are hearing these words, just stop listening and go find out how you right now can watch Promare.
You might have to wait for it to come out and stream to you or something like that, but
I almost just want to watch it right now.
we can't easily.
Yeah, I'm sure I could find it somewhere.
It's possible. But difficult.
It might still even be in theaters in New York. I'll have to go check on that.
Maybe.
Yeah, this movie does have more of a plot than the original Vampire Hunter D.
Maybe, but I'm still saying it really does not have, a story.
Yeah, but
This-
this already, world was on fire. Why? That's the plot. And at the end, you will know why the world burned down.
Right, but
And it's actually a pretty interesting plot that was more than I expected it to be.
yeah, but it's not, you're not getting any meaning or.
No, you could,
you're-
because it's one of the aspects of this movie is actually very relevant. Well, two of the aspects are very relevant to current day, real world problems. The two things I'm thinking of are one, anti-immigrant, anti-refugee, bullshit.
Yep.
And number two, rich people wanting to give up and start over and leave all the poors behind instead of using those resources to fix the world.
Yes.
Those are two very core, very real themes
Right.
in this movie.
But they are just they're just put right out there.
Yeah, the plot is just those anti-immigrant people are bad.
There is no- there is-
Jeff Bezos bad.
there is no subtlety whatsoever. There is no right. It's literally just.
But that is
we
still
can't.
more.
I think they thought when they made this movie. I think there was an interview with them at the end, but they didn't say too much. But it did come across like. We decided we wanted to make a Studio Trigger movie
about fire.
about fire, and then they pretty much just made up a plot in order to support the scenes that they wanted, including, like I said, robot so big it punches the Earth that is entirely on fire and solar system sets on fire.
Because they were like, with Kill La Kill, we wanted to make a movie about clothes.
Yep.
And then they even corrected themselves.
Well,
like,
show
no.
about clothes.
Yeah, but then they corrected themselves. They're like, well, actually about fabric.
Yeah.
Specifically fabric.
Yep.
So this is the Fire movie.
Yep.
And it's great, and you should go see it. And we truly live in a golden age of animation.
Sure.
All right, that was a solid show.